So before going into detail, let me mention my intention of this work. So this work was an extension of my previous, that means project just submitted last year, where I have studied the optical activity of amino acids, but it was normal light, that means where orbital angular momentum or OM is zero. So, but after that, I found that amino acids in nature are mostly in humans are left or levo oriented. D amino acids is also present, but these amino acids are toxic and found in viruses and used in antibiotics, etc. So I thought in this situation, it's long pandemic, that in this virus world, where bacteria is another important thing. So whether we can do any research in connection with this optical activity to, that means, arrest or kill this virus public from the and keep them away from this world. So that's why I came to my mind that better it is go to higher order light, that means which are known as vortex beam. And the thing is that this vortex beam is nowadays is very known that they are highly used for optical tweezers, etc. That means to rotate a cell or a micromolecule, everything, by impinging the higher orbital light. So that's why I started to do work, but it is not finished, and I just came just going to mention that more work can be done, and just going to present my thought. Now, first of all, highlights I'm just mentioning that 8 points I'm just touching here. What is chirality and what is optical activity, angular momentum of photon, vortex beam, and higher order polarized light, absorb intensity, quantum phase of chiral molecule, an entanglement in optical active medium, chirality in amino acids, and experimental study with amino acids. So, what is chirality? Chirality are found in molecules or in objects where there is improper rotational symmetry axis, and also the mirror image are not same. Usually in sugar, amino acids, etc., these type of chirality are found. That means chirality is developed from the structure of molecules. Okay. Now, chirality are two types usually, L and D, etc. So I have mentioned already that D are seen where it is seen. Now, in connection with chirality, optical activity is a macroscopic property of a collection of these molecules that arises from chirality. Now, here I am showing that there are three moving, that means waves. One is optical activity, usually which has been that means in 1811 discovered. It is from that trivially it is a rotation of plane of polarization of linearly polarized light or plane polarized light. So it is showing that a wave which is horizontally propagating, it is how the plane is twisted. Now, apart from linearly polarized light, which is developed by the superposition of the two circular early oriented light, that one LCP or RCP, separately this circularly polarized light also can be optically active in some medium. But here you see that this is the optically polarized light. When it is passes through some optically active medium, the absorption in the two perpendicular directions are unequal. That's why the light becomes circularly polarized light becomes elliptical when it passes through the or entered the optical active medium. Now the rotation of the plane of polarization is theta, which is the difference of the two circularly polarized light velocities or the refractive index. Now in this rotation, it is very important to mention the angular momentum of photon, and then that means involvement in this study, or in almost all studies of with light, that polarized photons are the two angular momentum, spin angular momentum, and the spin angular momentum, two eigenvalues up and down, and and the linearly polarized light, which is superposition of R and L, these has no angular that means has no SAM. Now, apart from SAM, there is also the that means point of attraction is OM, orbital angular momentum, which is the inclination of the phase front. That means light has a particular phase front, and so this phase front, the inclination of the phase front to the beam propagation axis, this is the orbital angular. Also, it is associated with the intensity of the light. Not only the phase front, it is in other words, it is associated with the intensity of the light. And this is a phase factor is associated exponential IL phi plus minus, and L is defined as the topological charge. It has plus minus 1 to like these values, and then the beam is identified as a vortex beam. There is also vector vortex beam, some little bit different from the vortex beam. And thus at the center, you will see that at the center, the vortex is developed. So that's why it is vortex beam. But for what is topological charge? Topological charge is describes as the number of vortices, helical phase windings in one wavelength. So this is the topological charge here for vector vortex beam. And this is the identified here as the higher order light, which I am considering here for my case. But for paraxial light beams, SAM and OM can be added. Now, what is the use of this vector? That means vector vortex beam. That it is possible a chiral light to optically manipulate the optical active particle. That means to trap a particle, to make a particle. That means just like a tweezer. So this is just optical tweezer, and nowadays it is very much, that means promising field for research. So just I am mentioning, but theoretically that for this reason I am considering higher order, or that means beam, for in order to study the D type of amino acids which are associated with the viruses and the toxic thing in this world. Now this for SAM and OM, two different types of sphere has to be denoted. This is the Poca sphere responsible for SAM, and this is the OM sphere responsible for orbital. Obviously, the states are for OM are different, LG modes, AG modes, etc. The important thing is that for every OM, large values of OM can be possible. So for every OM, there are two different spin states. So these two spins is that means it is a 2-to-1 correspondence, and that these two spheres are similar, but still there is 2-to-1 correspondence between the OM and SAM sphere. Now I'm going, but I will show later that we have constructed our imagine a sphere which is extended focus sphere, where we join these two spheres and make a representation. Now I am going for higher order light representing. So monochromatic paraxial light beam are which has a higher order orbital. A state can be represented by this, where psi LR and psi L are the amplitudes, and R, L and LLR are the higher RCP and LCP. So these are expressed in terms of this mathematical relation expression, e to the power IL minus IL phi and IL phi are the two terms. So my analysis up to this in this whole paper are theoretical, but I'm going to also explain the previous project part where L is equal to 0, but it will come later. So I'm mentioning that these states vertical basis is related with the vibration in the xy direction by this rotation matrix, where angle is L phi. If I change the basis from xy basis to the circular basis, then the matrix becomes this. So the intensity, initial intensity is I0. Now, if the higher order beam or light pass through the optical active medium and analyzer, then the calculations gives us this type of form, cos of L phi. That means the orbital phase is visible in this cos term, and I can represent in these terms. And so finally, the emergent intensity of this form, I0 cos square L phi, this one. And if I, that means make the difference from the emergent intensity from the initial intensity, we get the absorbed intensity. So absorbed intensity is these two parts. So for minimum intensity, so this L phi cos theta minus alpha will be either n pi or n plus 1 pi by 2. These two maximum minima can be obtained. Now the Molus law, which we already everybody know from the textbook, it is for emergent light when L is equal to 0. So L is equal to 0 gives this type of intensity. So this is the absorbed intensity. So now we are going to point out that what is the effect of the absorbed energy, where it goes. So absorbed energy of the polarized light indicate loss of intensity of OM that is transferred to the SAM of the, that means the spin of the molecules. Molecules means chiral molecules in the optical active medium. So, and that means the and that means what happens to the molecules then? Actually, that we will explain now, that it will acquire a quantum phase. So just transfer of energy I'm going to mention here, that in optical active medium, the transfer of energy is OM to SAM. So OTSC, OM to SAM conversion হয়. But whereas in birefringent or any wave plates, the changes is spin to orbital. We have done several work in birefringent cases. There we find that conversion of angular momentum is spin to orbital. But in our case of optical active medium, it is orbital to spin, because no change of the RCP or LCP takes place, only the phase changes, e to the power I something, the phase of the OM changes. That means it reduces, because finally the E terms cannot be more than 1. So that's why. So here, through this expression, it can be seen that how the angular momentum changes. Now I'm going to tell that the quantum phase I have mentioned, that quantum phase is the, according to the very, the phase is, this quantum phase is nothing but if a particle, quantum particle is forced to move in a closed path, then by some parameter that means or parameter dependent Hamiltonian, then it acquire, apart from the dynamical phase, it acquire a geometric or a quantum phase that is associated with the eigenvectors or the local vectors of this, and associated, and it comes out like a solid angle. So it is very common to the quantum mechanics in every um, that means field. Now I'm just here, previously I told that we are that means comprising the two spheres. So here in our geometry we draw the sphere, which is here geometrical interpretation of quantized spinor. In another word, it is also the extended Poca sphere. How? Because in every point of the sphere, we are drawing, we are considering a projection outward. It represents the spin or the helicity of the quantized particle. And now, as if just like a ball with spoke, you can imagine like that way. So spokes, these are the indication of the helicity, and the chi is the parameter which parameterize the helicity, and theta phi are the normal spherical angle. So in this the sphere, extended sphere, three parameters are that means needed to represent a point. So here we phi is associated with the OM and chi is associated with the helicity. So it is helicity means it is with SAM. So we have also in 1994 first did in my PhD the state the relativistic way, the photon, polarized photon represented in the OM sphere. At that time, OM was not known and we only mentioned theta phi. So on another in 2019, 97 and 26, 2006, we expressed the state in the SAM sphere, theta and chi. Here it is theta and phi and theta and chi. But in this work, we use the wave function of the OM sphere. So this former I am using, and with that spinor, I can represent it in terms of the elementary qubit, and finally calculated the two quantum phases for two rotation, left and right, and also pointed out that the emergent light has a state that has a phase different from the initial, which is cos theta, and which is, it is the difference of the two quantum phase or Baire phase. So as similar as classically, which is found that it is the angle is the difference of two refractive index or velocities, right and left. So here, this is the, I'm mentioning that in terms of qubit, spinor have a theta rotation can be written like this. And next point is, that means up to this, we have pointed out that you see this 1 plus cos theta and 1 minus cos theta, it is seen here in the absorbed energies. That means this proves that absorbed energies is utilized or equivalent to the quantum phase of the chiral molecule. Next, we will point out that entanglement. What happens? That means over a time, the plane of polarization in the medium, optical active medium, twisted. So there is a tied behavior between the photon and the fermion. So that makes these strong correlation leads to the entanglement, and we find that there is a rotation matrix also involved. So these type of singlets are formed, and if the for higher order orbital, no, sorry, higher order light, HOL, this is the rotation I have pointed out previously. So this is associated with uh, the singlet state formation. And another thing is that it has been pointed out how that means every interaction with the molecule, how the basis changes from R to L, basis goes to plus this state, then next state. So every basic state there is some generation of the phases in terms of concurrence. We have also proved that concurrence, that means the measure of entanglement, is nothing but the quantum phase, the very phase. It is cos theta first interaction, second interaction cos 2 theta, then on so on. So like this way, the entanglement takes place in the that means OPM, the optical active medium. So up to this theoretical, I'm just mentioning my previous project, just which was on L is equal to 0 wavelength, that means ordinary light of no OM. So in that case, we have considered some amino acids which inspired me to start this work. Amino acids, non-essential and essential, both we have considered, and in digital polarimeter, CDP 001. And also we are interested to work with proteins, because protein has also the optical active properties and birefringent properties. They are the building block, and we are interested to that means how this protein in this viruses can be destroyed like this way through entanglement. And we have polarimeter is this type of thing. I think no need of this expression. And these are the amino acids we have taken. All you note here, all these amino acids are L type. We didn't at that time, that means used any D type. So maybe I have a search. And also the thing is that the CDP 001 is a very that means instrument which can only measure of light of for one wavelength. But I found that we should study also with several wavelengths, the optical rotation. That is a different issue, different that means instrument need to be acquired. And the thing is that we have drawn the graph at that time. This is the concentration versus absorbed energy, and this is the geometric phase. Now, graphical analysis. These are the part of geometric phase and concentration, absorb energy concentration, where we have pointed out that proline is the highest. So these are the graphical thing. And now I'm just at the verge of completion. So I'm focusing on the future scope. Lot of things can be done. And since there are a student platform, I know, so I request to focus on this. If they're interested in optics, in this optical tweezer, higher order orbital. So first of all, separation of L and D amino acids by, maybe can be done by magnetic field. Conversion of D type to L type amino acid. That means if it is possible to convert, then toxic effect is also, that means can be eliminated. So it is very essential, I think. And usefulness of entanglement of two chiral molecules. To how entanglement can be stable, and quantum information processing of for formation of protein for amino acids. The thing is that because amino acids in protein, there are a lot of amino acids and they are connected with the peptide bond. So how these amino acid proteins are formed through combinations of the amino acids. Maybe it is a quantum information processing process, entanglement. So that's the thing I also have in mind, and I request to study the students. And lastly, to apply for drugs for finding the source of diseases. So that's my future scope, and I invite people to do in this line. So that's the thing. This is the all these are references, and thank you for the hearing with patience.